Hello and welcome to the bi-weekly meeting podcast for the OWASP Top 10 for Large Language Model Applications. If you'd like to stay up to date with our project, please click subscribe. And if you enjoy the content or have any questions, please feel free to comment and share. Now, on to our meeting.
Welcome to our August 15th meeting. As I said earlier on, I promised to do a co-hosting with ads, but I don't know where the ads is on this, so I will start anyway. Can you see my screen? Have I improved? Okay, so I can share now without. So back again to the main effort, which is the version 2 roadmap. Most of the entries are where they need to be. There is still an outstanding issue about the agents and the excessive agency. I had some good calls with many of you, and I got some good feedback from all of you after last week's call. I had a conversation with Andy Smith, who was also part of the effort here. And so more geared towards option 1, but I want to have a couple of conversations with some of the core members to understand the possibility of us doing option 1, not being too bleeding edge, but also producing a paper that talks about agents, because I think it's something that people need to be aware of. And then once we have all that, you know, the kind of the workflow, as you see, will follow the data analysis voting for ranking, will clean up, and then we're still heading for October 1 publication, which is very, very exciting to think that we're going to have a version 2 in end of September. And this is where I pass it over to my colleague, Scott. Is Scott on the call? Scott? No? Okay, well, I will try and do the best that I can on behalf of Scott. This is, again, you know, the outreach schedule that he has published. Oh, there he is. Scott, I was trying to do you. And obviously, that's a very, very silly idea. So this is your slide.
Fine. That's fine. So yeah, so just like you said, you had it right. So this is the outreach schedule. And so the idea is just a reminder to make sure that we're completing it. There are a number of items that are coming up. We have events coming up that I want to make sure that are there. I know we're getting ready to launch the document that that Rachel and Brian have put together. So we want to put together a launch for that. And so once you guys have I think you have a roadmap for that already. Let's pick a date that we want to launch that, and then we'll go ahead and start to put together this PR and the outreach around that. So other events coming up, we obviously have the September AI, and then we also have our webinars. So want to make sure we've got our schedule for webinars that we want to do. We have several listed for the red teaming. Please make sure you have requests in. I'll be reviewing them this week so that we can finalize a schedule for webinars. So that's all I have there, just as a reminder to keep this up to date.
I have a good question for you on that.
Yep.
So if someone is invited to a webinar and is not organizing it as part of OWASP, it would be a good idea to track it through you, right?
Yes, just put it here, actually. If you want to track it through here, that would be great. There is also, for those of you, I know for the core team members, many of you have access to the back end of the website. Mm-hmm. You can also create events by logging in to the back end of the website. If you don't have those rights, let me know. But everybody on the core team should have the ability to, let's say you're doing a webinar event. You can log in to the back end and also present your event on the website. So you just fill out a form that's under events, and it'll automatically populate that on our list of events on the website. So that's two things you can do. First, add it here. Secondly, go ahead and add it to the website.
And I will lead by example. And I just booked a webinar with NIST on the 30th of October. I will make the address there. But anyway, back to you.
That's great, because then we can go ahead and promote that so that we can see what the community is doing, all of us within the community are doing, and make sure people are getting to those events and seeing our impact. Okay, next slide.
There you go.
So I just have a quick updates for folks, a couple of update slides. One, initiative governance. So we talked about having a lightweight initiative governance. That is, I sent that around, got feedback on it, released the final set. And this is for if you're wanting to propose a new initiative, what is the process by which we go through this? The details are outlined in this document. The link is there on the page. You can also, I'll also be adding this to our wiki. So we want to do a refresh on the governance on the wiki, and we'll add this there as well so that it's public and everybody can see it beyond just a link. So the steps are real quickly, you want to do your initial submission. If you want to do an initiative, and the whole idea behind initiatives is making sure that we can extend the project to focus on some of the other audiences and provide new content and resources, and to do that in a way that makes sure that we have both alignment across the community to help support that and the resources to do it so that we can ensure the best success for the project. We're not trying to limit things, we're just trying to make sure that we have critical mass, that when we deliver content, to deliver help, that we have the resources to go do that. Or we are in the position where we need to go out and find resources. That gives us the opportunity to say, hey, in your submission, you say we need to find more resources, help me find a core team to do that. That's something we can do through the community and make sure that we're all being successful. So once you do the form, there's a review and feedback, send that to the core team members. Once you get feedback on that, we'll send it around for final review submission. This is what's been happening with the red teaming initiative. Then there's the approval process. So we want to make sure that we have that review submission. We've identified those core contributors we talked about, any call for contribution or resourcing needs. So if you know you're going to need funding for something, for example, the initiative that Rachel has been working on, they need some additional funding to help support some of the testing. And so we've got that lined out, and they've got funding now to support that. So want to make sure if there's needs like that, we can have those to be able to use the funding that we're getting through sponsorship for that. And then we'll do simple approval or a majority vote for the core team members. We do that through a form like the one I have here. We can use that for future ones by just simply, making a copy of it and reusing it for the next initiative. So that's the approach we have. The details, of that are outlined in the initiative governance document. So if you want to read more details, you can go there. But that's the sum of the parts. Any questions? Silence means no. Okay.
I have a question on kind of for anyone who's watching this. How do people find? So this is fantastic that what you have done there. The governance, the transparency we have, the visibility is fantastic. How would a member of our community find out about initiatives? Is that do we advertise them through Slack, or how do they find out about them?
Well, to find out about the initiatives themselves, so there's two potential answers. So one is where you find out about the governance and how to start one of these. We're adding that to the wiki, so that'll be added to the wiki probably by the end of the weekend. I will probably have that done. The next part is that we will on the wiki kind of list the initiatives. We need to do a little bit of restructuring on that. Today we have, for example, the data gathering initiative is listed there. And then lastly, they'll be listed on the website. So there's a website link for initiatives. So if people are interested in those, and we're going to be doing more promotion around them now that we have more than just a handful. And so I think that's where you find out more about the initiatives. And from there, they can link to on how to join those initiatives and be part of it. Once you do one of these initiatives, you just simply need to create a blog post. And you tag that blog post as an initiative, and it'll promote that blog post and the initiative there on the initiative page. So you can take a look at that. There's a process for that as well.
Fantastic. Any other questions, guys? Okay, as Nicole said, silence means no. So next slide, I think.
So I didn't get a chance to update this, so I can go look at it real quickly. So this is the red teaming proposal that's out. So there is if you haven't reviewed the document, please do review the document that has been circulated to the core team. Also, there's the form to vote, and you have 4 options when you're voting. You can approve it, and add some comments. If there's some things you think need to be changed in the document that didn't get covered in the review cycle, you can add that there. You can also say, I just need more information to be able to make a decision on it. And then lastly, you can reject the proposal. So those are the 4 options you have. As of last night, midnight-ish, when I pulled it, I only had 4 votes. There may be more right now, but if you can make sure you do that, I will check this by the end of the day and get back with everybody on the final result. I'd like to get this wrapped up by either today or tomorrow, so that we can make sure that Canisius has things able to move forward with the rest of the team that's been put together for this initiative.
Excellent. And I have a question on this, Scott, again.
Yeah.
So those initiatives are fantastic and great, and I kind of provided feedback and I'll vote on this. How do we make sure we align with similar initiatives, for instance, from the OWASP AI Exchange? Is there something that's built into this, so that do we communicate those initiatives to? Obviously, I do it informally by being on the leadership of both. Is there anything of kind of not over duplicating? I think it's good to have the freedom to explore, but how can we avoid over duplicating things?
Yeah, and so that's something we have to make sure that we're reviewing. That's why we have this approved the review process by the core team for these, to make sure that we've got alignment. So it's upon us at this point to make sure that we're making sure things are aligned across the organization, the core team and leadership team. So that's the best way. It will be great as we evolve to have a better some kind of communication. I know Rob has sent me some things that we want to include in the top 10 that we need to do some revisions to on the content. And so that will do. But I think as we continue to work forward, we'll find the best way to kind of work together on this. I just kind of right now, for the purposes of expediency, put it on the heads of the leadership team and the core team to kind of make sure that we're making these kind of decisions. Yep. And that's why it goes to a vote today.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do, because we don't want to overcomplicate things. I'm just mentioning it for awareness for people who submit initiatives and all that, and for people who watch this video.
Yes, and so again, that's why we're going through this voting process, to make sure we're aligned as an organization around these are the things we want to do. We have the resources to do that, and we know where we're trying not to duplicate work. We're trying to make sure the work is unique and adding value to those who are looking to help secure their applications, etc. So yeah.
Excellent.
Next slide.
I'll stop asking questions because I think it stops everyone else from asking questions.
Okay. No worries. So this is my week for boring details. So the other boring detail we have is we do have the expense process. We have an updated process for approved budget. There is a document that walks through the process. So if you're not already familiar with doing expenses through OWASP, we are, for our budget items, when we're expensing them, we are using the OWASP portal for that. There are some specific things we require in that to make sure that it is attached to the budget. First of them is the budget code. So for any approved budget item, there is a budget code you get, and that budget code will go into the subject line as is outlined in the document here. So for anybody who is doing any types of expenses that have been pre-approved, use the document there. We'll walk you through the process. If you're looking to get reimbursement, you need to make sure you have a OWASP expense reimbursement form on hand. Have completed that with OWASP, so they have the specific bank information to be able to do an electronic transfer of those funds. And then lastly, we use the portal. If you don't have access to the OWASP services portal, you need to do that obviously using an OWASP.org email. And so that's the mechanism by which we provide it. There's specific content that we need to provide as part of that, and that's outlined in the budget document in terms of what specific details you need to provide for each expense. So have a look at that. We now have that up and running, and I know we've already provided to some folks, Rachel, I know you and others have gotten their budget codes for their approved budget items, and so they can go ahead and use this process to cover their expenses. I've also have a link up there if you're interested in looking at our back-end operations slides. So those are all of the operation processes and so on for the community, which include our back-end support for funding, et cetera.
Okay. Next slide. Questions? Next slide. Oh,
before we switch, let me add one more thing that I haven't had a chance yet that I forgot to add a slide for, which is Black Hat. So it was great to meet a lot of people at Black Hat last week. We also have continued to see more involvement in terms of sponsorship. So most of my objective there last week was to meet with different companies on helping us continue to fund and drive sponsorship. So there were several new companies that have expressed interest in sponsorship. So we're upping the forecast just a little bit, and hopefully we'll get those folks closed in the next couple of weeks. Now that people are done with getting ready for Black Hat, this week seems to be most people are on vacation. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we should be able to close those who are still have their in process with their sending us their sponsorship. So great stuff, great feedback, and great support there at the event. So I just want to let people know that we are working toward that. I'll do a review next time on where our budget stands. Always, if you have any questions, feel free to, or sponsorship funding stands. Always, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me.
Great stuff. Any question for Scott before we move to the next slide?
Hey, John, just a quick one to call out from the chat. So you got a question in the chat around where can we find the slides in order to click on some of these links? Obviously, I know the recordings are available on YouTube, but you can't click on them. I know we used to also have a copy of the slides linked on the wiki, but that doesn't seem to be maintained anymore.
Well, we shall, very good point then. We shall fix that and we'll make sure we share it. That's the whole point of having those slides and the links there. So I'll take it as an action and I'll talk to Scott and others to make sure that we over it to make sure that those things become available to everyone.
Sounds good. And then presumably whatever the outcome of that is, we'll chuck something in the main Slack channel for the project so that folks can pick it up there, yeah?
Andy, that's that for now. That will be the easiest thing to do. After the call, I will share it. And I completely agree with Heather. Please join the OWASP Slack. That's where we post most of the things and talk and argue endlessly about interesting stuff. But that's what I will. That's what I will.
Yeah, and
we don't argue. We discuss vigorously the merits.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they should be also up on the website. So I think Aubrey was also on holiday, so we're trying to make sure we have a resources section on the website. So we want to make sure all of these for all the meetings are on the website. We also have a meetings page which has the link, and so we want to make sure that these are available there. So I'll make sure that we've got some closure on both getting them on the wiki and then also on the website.
And I will double check that you have actually, Jalem. You just posted you have a Slack membership. I will test that. Thank you, Scott and Andy. So, brief answer. There is a section. It may have been neglected because we're all on holiday, but I will post a link immediately after this call to Slack so everyone can click on the links and find out about the great expense process that we have and all the other stuff. Any other questions for Scott? Or anyone? Okay, let's move then.
I'm sorry, I just said I'm going to do. I forgot another slide. So just to shout out that we are still working on the solutions guide. We have the stand up, which is happening next week on Tuesday. So I will have an updated draft of that. Black Hat got in the way, so I'll be having that finished up. So that we'll have that for review. Probably we'll send it out on Monday of next week and for Tuesday review.
Very quickly,
okay, I'll be quiet now.
For anyone who's not part of the not just yet, for anyone who's not part of the kind of the proceedings, what's the solutions guide? So if anyone is interested, what is it, Scott?
Sure. So the solutions guide is one of the core documents, one of the many documents we're producing. It provides an alignment for what types of solutions in the market are available that help to address this. So we're trying to take the next step beyond just providing the highlighted issues. We're also looking to provide guidance. So it will include a topic on a section discussing the architecture of applications, how that lines up with the LLM ops process, and what that means in terms of what the specific solutions in the industry are for securing your LLMs. So there will be a landscape guide as also produced, which you've seen landscapes from Linux Foundation and other places that have created a mapping of the categories and the specific technologies that are available. And so that's also what the solution guide is. So it will provide that guidance for organizations looking to figure out what solutions they have currently that can apply toward the LM top 10 and what new emerging solutions are coming into the market.
Fantastic. And you said next Tuesday is the first call.
Yeah, so we have a stand-up every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, and if you're interested in becoming part or jump into the project, the document process, jump into the Slack, which is Solutions Doc, and that's it.
Fantastic. That's exciting. I'll see you on Tuesday, Scott. Anything else before I move to, because when I switch to the next slide, I won't allow you to say anything else. So is there anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Right. Oops, sorry. Let's go to, this is for Rachel, right? And Brian and Sandy.
Yeah, okay, so Rachel is unable to join today, so I will be covering updates to the CTI layer. So also, by the way, hi, I'm Brian Nakayama. So first of all, starting on the left-hand guide in terms of the guidance documents, so we have the deepfake guidance, which you referenced before, Scott, and so we'll get you the publication date after I double-check with Rachel. We're planning on, I think, early second week of September. But we are seeking feedback from the core team, and the link is in the channel. So please go in there, take a look. We're pleased with the document so far, but we really would love any feedback. Additional eyes would be super useful. So the second document that we're working on is responding to AI-enhanced cyber attacks. So there's going to be an outline draft circulated within the volunteers tomorrow. And then we're going to plan to have a first draft by the 23rd. And then finally, we have the AI incident guidance. So we're going to have a kickoff and scoping meeting next Friday. Oh, wait, meant next week. Okay, my apologies for that. So that should actually be the 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I will put that into the Slack. So that'll be next week. Let me be clear again, at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And so basically trying to define what that guide will be and won't be. Please participate. So, I'll put details into the AI CTI channel. And then on the right-hand side, AI for attacks and exploitation research. So of course, is the Hacker GPT versus Honeypot project. Rachel is running that, but I did just talk to her yesterday about the status, and it appears that a combination of the success of COVID infections and Black Hat have kind of, slightly slowed progress on that. So I believe she's conducting a meeting with that group on 8/23 to kind of re-kick things off, evaluate progress, make sure things are on track. And then we have exploit generation using AI. So of course, as mentioned before, funding was secured for that. And we're still doing a little bit of work on the research question and deliverable refinement just to make sure we're using those funds as best as possible. And yeah, so that's it. So again, that AI incident guidance will be Friday, 8/23, not 8/16. Apologies on that. And if you'd love to get involved, we'd love to have you. So join the channel or message either Rachel or I. So yeah, any questions?
Excellent stuff.
Oh, it's great work.
Absolutely. It's so exciting stuff. So many exciting things are happening there. Any questions from anyone on all this?
Okay.
No? Well, okay. Let's then thank you, Brian. And Sandy and Rachel. This is really one of the most exciting things that's happening at the moment on our group. And now let's move to discussion. Before that,
Hey, John.
I didn't have the slide to give you an update, a couple of points from me. So the supply chain, the updated entry, I haven't had much more feedback other than Sarah Thornton, you posted a very good link there that's Owen from the Linux Foundation, who's also on the AI exchanges, working on some cryptographic support for models. So having a call with him next week, and I will post it. The agent stuff I covered. I work with Andy. Will formalize the kind of recommendation for next week. And then in terms of the alignment and the standards and all that, the AI Safety Institute, they have started now 3 task forces. Unfortunately, it takes ages and ages to get to the bottom of those things, but the red teaming, well, it's complex and all that, so I'll be very, very charitable. So Rachel, I have renominated Rachel for that pen testing for biochemical risks on the grounds of the OCP. Again, the previous nominations we had after the 3 months will be activated. So I expect to see more and more people. I believe, Scott, you have kind of been approved or being approved for the risk stuff. And then Suzanne from the AI Exchange, because this is a joint venture, is for the some of the abuses. That's a new task force that's being formed. You can still take part. If you register at the beginning, you should be receiving emails about the data calls that they're having for the various work groups. So, you're being encouraged to join. Otherwise, just be patient and wait for me to start the task forces. Ross, you have your hand there, and I didn't see it. Sorry. Off you go.
Yeah, that's fine. I snuck a slide in on you. If you refresh, it should pull it up. Sorry.
That's all right. Just give me a sec. As people know, I'm not very good with this. So just a sec. Is this?
Yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Okay, off you go. Let me just show you.
I just wanted to report on the automated PDF generation pipeline because there's been some confusion there. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aligned and we're all on the same page with that. So there were 2 solutions that were proposed. One is the PDF authoring tool that COTET has been using with several folks that are doing translations in a couple of other documents. And the other is a GitHub pipeline. And after several of us got together, looked through it, talked through the pros and cons of each, we're going to move forward with the GitHub pipeline. And right now, Talesh has a working GitHub pipeline that's using the Markdown converter to PDF. So it's an automated process. You check your code in, an action runs, it builds the PDF. We're going to port the backend for that. Right now it's using Talesh's code to build that PDF. We're going to port that to the LaTeX template in the near future. What that means is we need to build a path to migrate the stuff that's using COTET's PDF authoring tool off onto that new platform. And we haven't really started that yet, but that'll be coming. We're going to start discussions with that in the next couple of weeks here. I guess maybe pause there and ask if there's any questions about that before I hit the other 2 points there.
No, I mean, I've been kind of browsing those discussions, Jason. So I'm still a little bit confused as a document producer. Like, is there a specific format I need to follow? Or, the big challenge with the translation is images and things. I didn't necessarily want to take images out. I think those help with the document. So just any coaching on what you need us to do to make it easier to do the publishing would be helpful.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think now that we've got a solution decided upon and the path is working, I think probably the next step will be to build, as a document author, what do I need to do? And just kind of like, here are the steps you need to do to create a document. And I think that'll help a ton for clarifying that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I mean, that tons of work goes into that, Jason, and everyone who's contributed to that. It's huge. So appreciate the hard work.
For sure. Yeah, and to be fair, that's a lot of Talesh, and COTET's tool is awesome. There's just some reasons that we can't use it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And have we notified him, Jason? Have we talked to him about that or messaged?
Yeah, I think he's aware. We've talked to him. We've had discussions, and it's all pretty open in the Team LLM style Slack channel.
Okay. Great. Any other questions for this? There's more points to cover there.
Yeah, just a couple real quick. Looking at revising the style guide for version 2. So whatever changes need to happen to make sure that we're more consistent across the entries. And to that end, obviously, if you have thoughts and feelings about that, please come join us in TML style Slack, and we're happy to chat through it.
Great. Anything else for any questions for Jason Fryan? Nope. Okay. Just before I go to discussion, I had actually, I'm like Scott, I've forgotten to mention. So as you know, some of you know that I'm both in the leadership of the LLM Top 10 and an AI Exchange. And that gives really a unique opportunity to scale the standards alignment. So as part of the AI Exchange work, and I think we have also on the call Aranish, who's part of the AI Exchange leadership too. So we attended a call with Rob also with the Coalition for Secure AI. They started working on guidance on, and it's being supported by everyone who plays a large commercial role in AI, in NVIDIA, Google, and all that. And so, that gives a good opportunity for all of us to be part of that conversation. I'll keep you updated. For now, we just agreed really on the principle to collaborate, to make sure we use as much as we can rather than creating and retranslating. And I think that's also, for me, the ask is to all of you is we keep going out talking about alignment amongst the various standards organizations. Let's also bring that in our minds about aligning between the OWASP projects, particularly AI Exchange. So if you take an initiative that may have, kind of cross project effect, flag it, and we can have a conversation without actually stopping or preventing anyone. It's just making sure that we're being aligned. And that's all from me. Anything else that anyone wants to bring up and discuss? I know it's holiday, I know everyone is relaxing, but surely there must be some burning issues on the world of LLM security.
I've got one.
Okay, go
on. Sorry, I'll turn my video back on. So not really a proposal. Maybe it fits into the CTI stuff, actually, that we talked about already. But I got engaged in a discussion on LinkedIn where several people were asking why isn't there some kind of, hey, as a threat defense person, this is what an attack looks like in my logs. And I wonder if that's an artifact that maybe we could come up with perhaps as part of that CTI process that we talked about.
Just the detection side of things, when you go, the investigation rather, when you go through and say, hey, that's what the attack looks like in the logs.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. What do people think on the call?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea, thinking about it, for example, vis-a-vis the AI incident guide as well. I'll bring it back to the channel and to Rachel, and we'll talk about implementing that. But that sounds like an interesting idea, yeah.
And Jason, you're part of that channel, right? You participate in that conversation too.
I don't know if I am currently, but I will be as soon as I'm done with this call and click that channel.
We should be. Okay. Anyone else? That's a good point, actually. That's an interesting point there. Anyone else that wants to share any information or ask any questions? Well, looks like we're all in holiday mode. Despite all that, I have to congratulate the project and the group. Will still keep making the headlines. We'll still keep pushing the boundaries. And it's good to see how we blossom from, if you look at last year, we had the top 10, then Sandy came and added the awesomeness of the checklist. And now we see that blossoming for so many areas around the security of LLMs, and with the CTI, with the red teaming, with the initiatives. So well done to all of you, and let's keep moving things forward. If no one has any other questions, I'll close the call. Anything else before I do that? Lovely to see you all, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for checking out our bi-weekly meeting podcast. If you'd like to stay up to date on all of the latest news for the OWASP Top 10 for large language model applications, please click subscribe. And of course, we'd appreciate it if you'd share with a friend to grow our community. We'll see you in 2 weeks.